And I like to think of like the emotional channels kind of like as a river. And like babies, the river's flowing so
Yes.
cleanly,
Yes.
so cleanly. Adults, we are swamps. I'm so sorry to break it to you.
Just stagnant inside. Just, oh,
Totally. And
yes.
what's wild is that it's what's taught to us in a lot of
Mhm.
modern therapy. We are taught to intellectualize our emotions, to understand the patterns, or we just bypass it. And that's literally what we are recommended to do by self help books that have
Yes.
sold millions of copies. This is The Body Knows,
Where we trade self-improvement for self-trust.
and root personal development in collective liberation.
I'm Anna Alley,
And I'm Leona Waller.
and we're exploring the revolutionary idea that your nervous system
With all its seemingly extra reactions
is actually incredibly wise. We're using somatics
and embodiment,
to reclaim the parts of ourselves we were taught to lock away.
our rage, our sensitivity, our wildness, our desire.
Basically, imagine the scientific method meets dancing around a bonfire.
Naked. We're definitely naked. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening, and let's get into it.
The world's a wild place right now.
The world's a wild place right now.
There's a lot going on.
It's overwhelming.
It's deeply overwhelming. And it's just been going on for years now.
It really
In a lot of,
has.
yeah.
And I know sometimes people are like, you don't know what it was like in the 60s. But I'm like,
I think that's a behavior pattern that dismisses and invalidates someone's feelings in the moment. And
yeah.
they're like, well, it could be worse or it could be
And you're
better.
like,
And you,
that's exactly what I wanted to hear right now. Wow, I feel so much better. Thank you.
like, you were just dismissing my experience. No, shit's crazy.
It's just crazy. You know, when you're like walking around and like going to the grocery store, you're going to like a public place and like you feel the energy and you're like, whoa, we need to do some emotional processing right now. That doesn't mean you process yourself into not caring, but that
Mm.
means you have a way of this energy moving so it's not ruling you. So you can think clearly and make mature, grounded decisions.
Yes. 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 It's like when there's these like big feelings inside,
Mhm.
I know what I do is like, okay, how can I turn away from this? That's a lot. I'm just gonna ignore it and pretend like it's
Yeah.
not there and pretend like I'm
I'm gonna
okay.
just keep moving faster. I'm gonna just
Uh,
do things faster, or like I'm gonna just scroll on Instagram, or
right. I'm gonna escape
I'm
this.
gonna go shopping. I'm gonna eat a lot of food. What are some of our other terrible coping mechanisms?
uh, yeah, anything pleasurable. So
Yeah.
like food or scrolling or Netflix
Mhm.
or listening to music.
Yeah. Or on the other end, you're like, I'm gonna start a fight with my partner.
I'm gonna indulge in this.
I'm just feeling bad. I'm gonna make everyone around me feel bad. It's gonna be so much fun. We're gonna have a great
So we all
time.
know
Yeah.
what escape or distraction or
Mhm.
repression or indulgence
Mhm.
looks like, which are like words for what we just expressed as examples of what we do when emotions feel big.
Mhm.
um, and what's been a game changer for me and Leona has been moving the emotion by using the body, sound, vocalization, and breath. Yes.
To give you an example.
Oh my god. Um, do you wanna dive into that right now?
I think so. Oh, no, what we wanna talk about is
Yes.
we wanna talk about why do none of us know how to emotionally process? Oh my god, this is a skill that babies know so naturally. They got it down. They just cry, and then you, like, stick a bottle in their mouth, and then they're laughing, and they're smiling, and everything's great. You can see emotional energy moving through them so easily.
Yeah, and they get
Yeah,
wiggly, they start,
totally.
like, moving their hands and their feet and their face, and they, like, scrunch up their face, and they make sounds.
Yes. They're just like
They're
I
masters at it.
they're masters at it, and I like to think of, like, the emotional channels kind of like as a river, and, like, babies, the river's flowing
Yes. Yes.
so cleanly. Adults, we are swamps. I'm so sorry to break it to you.
Just stagnant inside. Just, oh.
Totally, and
Yes.
what's wild is that it's what's taught to us in a lot of
Mhm.
modern therapy and a
Mhm.
lot of Western therapeutic traditions. We are taught to intellectualize our emotions, to understand the patterns, to understand why we do that weird thing when our friend says that thing that kind of reminds us of our mom. Like we intellectualize it or we just bypass it. And that's literally what we are recommended to do by self help books that have
Yes.
sold millions of copies.
Yes. And guess what? It just adds to the swamp.
Are you feeling better? Have you read some of those books? Are you feeling better yet? I wasn't. So that's why we're
Uh,
here.
yes, and so I love the baby example of, okay, first we need to, like, move the energy in some
Mhm.
way, movement, sound, breath, and
Mhm.
then we need a touchstone that brings us back to ourselves, and that's the
Mm.
parent's role. That's the
Mm.
co-regulation that happens with the baby. That's the,
Mm.
like, the parent scoops them up and holds them to their chest, and the
Mhm.
baby feels safety, belonging, and dignity, feels
Yeah.
held, feels safe, feels loved. Um, and we just had this great experience with some friends on the beach the other day where like this little baby was crying and then like mama just gave him some milk. He took a few sips, lifted up his head and just smiled
A
like just the
huge
biggest
smile.
grin on his face. And it was like, all is better.
Yeah, all is well. Unfortunately, we can't
Ugh.
solve the problems of the world that easily, but you really can feel so much better.
And this is the process. This is the, like,
Yes.
let the energy move and then reconnect to ground, to center, to
Mhm.
your heart, to self, to
Mhm.
someone
Mhm.
you care about, to something that matters to you, to
Mhm.
bring you back to that place.
Totally. So, movement, breath, sound.
1, 2, 3.
We have talked about these on other podcasts. I can't remember any of them right now. They will be linked below. Uh, but movement, breath, sound are like a basic somatic embodied techniques.
Mhm.
It means that your body is involved. We are going to give some examples of how you can use movement, breath, sound to process different emotions, but this is an intuitive process. So if you're like, whatever we're suggesting, you're like, no, actually, I really want to breathe or sound this way, do that.
Yes. It's all so context dependent and so person dependent.
So person
And, like,
dependent.
what works for me doesn't work for Leona and
Yeah.
vice versa. And then sometimes it does.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there is, like, a lot of exploration to be done here to understand what is your flavor of emotional processing,
Totally.
or what can you reach for that really helps.
Yeah.
Um,
So, probably the most accessible one for most people is breathing because we are all always breathing. And all you need to do is add a little bit more energy to it, a little bit
mhm.
more texture. So,
Yes.
anger, uh, you can just do that.
Yeah,
You can just huff.
yeah.
We all sometimes huff without realizing we're huffing. And now you just can give yourself permission to huff. You can do it in a car, you can do it in a bathroom. It's so accessible and available to us at any time. And then, say, for like fear, you can literally let yourself breathe that way. Now, there's a small caveat. If you breathe that way too long, you will get lightheaded and you could also give yourself a panic attack. So, like, don't push your body beyond what is comfortable.
Yeah, tune in, right? There is a lot
Tune in.
of self-awareness
Yes,
in breathwork
totally,
practices, in all of these practices.
totally.
Um,
And then there's also like for sadness, like
yeah, these big, deep, like, let the
yeah,
sigh out, let the exhale
totally,
out.
totally. And that transitions all of those transition super easily into sound.
Yeah.
The sound barrier can be super hard for some of us to break because we have been taught in almost every
Mhm.
context to diminish our bodily signals and our expressions, and especially not to take up space with our voice. Like, Why are you being so loud? Stop crying so loudly. Stop making such a fuss.
You're
Like,
too much.
you're too
In a
much.
nutshell.
We're back there again.
Yeah.
So totally understanding if the sound barrier is just you're not ready for it, but working up to it just through some sighs. Like there is a practice of doing cat cow and like
Oh,
essentially making the sound of wailing as you're doing cat cow, as you're opening up your body, inhaling, exhaling. Oh, and if you have some deep grief that is stuck,
ugh.
try that for a few minutes, and I bet you will crack it open.
And this is a good place to maybe talk about so many of us also shy away from this type of processing because we're worried we're gonna drown in it. Like, so you just
Yes.
said the word "steep grief," and,
Yeah.
like, there's a great example of, like, I know when I have gone through different grieving processes, there have been parts that are like, "I can't. I'm
Yeah.
going to drown if I touch that grief."
Yeah.
So there is something important to be said here about recognizing that if you're having that feeling, if you're having that, "I'm gonna drown in this,"
Mhm.
that's a really good indicator to work with a professional
Mhm.
when moving these emotions in some way, and we're
Mhm.
obviously gonna recommend someone who does, like, somatic therapy,
Mhm.
um, and because it's true, like, your body is wise, and if there's something is so big within you, there's a wise part of it that says, "I can't hold this on my own. I don't know
Mhm.
how to hold this on my own."
Yeah.
And that's where you work with a professional to help hold space for you and to help you learn how to titrate and how to tap in, touch in, and then come back to self.
Totally.
Touch in, and then over time, you build that capacity and flexibility within your system to touch into the thing, express the thing, and then pull out and come back to the
Absolutely.
moment.
And it just to make it clear, you will not drown in the emotion.
Mm.
It feels like that, and we've both had experiences where it's deeply felt like that, and we highly recommend finding a professional you trust to go there, and I just wanna say it gets so much easier. Like, if that's the reason that you have a block on your emotions and you're like, the idea of emotional processing is terrifying. It is a bottomless pit. Been there. And I promise it gets so much easier, and now I think I can speak for both of us when I say that, there's almost no emotion that I can touch into that I don't feel comfortable, like, processing mostly on my own or calling Anna and processing or calling Josh and processing, like, I and like Anna was saying, like, I know how much I can handle in a short amount of time. I know when it's too big for me, and I know that I can ground myself at the end of it when I have processed enough and I would like to move on with my life now.
Yes, and so we're both saying this having worked with professionals.
Yes.
We have arrived here today because of that.
Yes.
And so, yeah, please find someone who
Yeah.
you can trust
Yeah.
and who knows what they're doing.
Who knows what they're doing? And I think we all have probably an emotion that feels like something we would drown in, like an experience is often like an old experience, like, it's often maybe something traumatic,
Yeah.
and, you're not broken, you're not wrong,
Yeah.
you're not silly, none of those things. It's a very, very human experience, and, what we are talking about today, these breath, movement, sound, those are the same tools you can process that really deep emotion. Um, it's helpful to start with smaller emotions.
Think like level 3.
Yeah, totally.
And it can be really hard to think of level 3 stuff
Yeah,
because your
out of
mind is
10.
yeah, out of 10, right? Yes, thank you, Leona. It can be really hard. Your mind is like immediately thinks of the level 8 scenario
Yeah,
that recently happened.
totally.
Um,
But I'm sure you can look out at the state of the world and find a lot of things between level 3 and level 7. So pick some lower ones and you'll work your way
yes,
up.
yes, yes. Okay, back to it.
Back to it. Sound. I so I didn't break the sound barrier probably until I was like 3 years into doing embodiment work. And movement was much more accessible for me. Breath, I think I had a pretty natural hold on. Movement, shaking, bouncing around, beating pillows, we'll get into those. And I didn't break the sound barrier actually until I had a neck injury from snowboarding and I couldn't move my body and I was going through a breakup. The sounds I made.
Oh my god, I don't think I've heard this story.
Yeah, and I was living in a house that was half buried into the earth, so, like, it was very sound protected, and my roommates would be gone all day. The sounds I made, and I share that just because it is so freeing when you
Ugh,
can get to the point where you're just like, "Ah!" in your car driving down the highway, whatever it is.
yes.
Oh my god, it feels so good.
Yes. Yeah, so that I also have still struggle with the sound barrier
Mhm.
and also had this experience of, okay, at first, like, it didn't even matter if I was alone.
Mhm.
I couldn't yell.
Mhm.
Like, my therapist was like, "Great, we're gonna work on yelling." And I was like, "No,
I hate this.
I'm not gonna do that. I can't." Um, and but at some point, you sort of build up to it. You can
Mhm.
start by, like, just humming and then
Totally.
trying to get louder with those
Mhm.
hums, and then you can try more like,
Mhm.
"Ah," like, not a yell, but not a hum,
Mhm.
and then the big help for me was doing it into a pillow. 'Cause
Mhm.
something I learned, I'm very sound sensitive in general, and just, like, the sound of a yell or a scream, like, scares a part of me, and
Mhm.
so even if it came out of my own mouth yeah, totally, a part of me like, "Ah, no."
That's a fun fact about Anna.
I'm so glad the whole world might know this now. Um, and so yelling into a pillow, screaming into a pillow was huge.
Mhm.
And then, driving in the car with the windows up
Mhm.
and yelling,
Mhm.
another, like, really, I think, safe space.
Mhm.
And there's something that helped about I was maybe moving, the car
Mhm.
was moving while
Yeah.
you do it.
Cleaning out the swamp.
Uh-huh.
There is something about
Uh-huh.
just movement through space. I'm so with you on that.
Yeah, yeah. And then sound can look lots of different ways as well. Like, we gave you humming, we gave you yelling, but also practice playful sounds. Like
Mhm. Exactly. One that my roommate really loves, that I really love.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's such a good, like, let you hold it on to. Let it go.
Yeah.
Just get those horse
Yeah.
lips, get those loose horse lips. I also just really love a sigh with a little bit of like, "Ugh, ugh,
Yeah, like an
ugh."
in there,
Yeah,
in
a
the
moan,
sigh.
a groan, a
Yeah.
grumble,
Yeah.
a
Right!
growl.
That, a
Oh, I
growl!
love a growl.
Yes,
Arr!
practice your growl, and then,
Yeah.
like, think about babies.
Mhm,
Babies, again, great teachers in
mhm,
lots of different sounds you could make, that
totally.
as adults, we, like, don't even have this creative capacity anymore.
We are locked up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then movement,
Mm,
which, like, there's so much. Movement is so amazing, and everybody gets to find their own way, and it's not a surprise, this is why a lot of us exercise,
mm,
because moving that energy feels so good.
mm,
You process so much. Also, fun fact, like, walking, running, bilateral stimulation, kind of like
mhm,
EMDR, it actually, like, helps you process things, so that's a fun little side fact.
mm.
But, like, a good way to start, Anna has taught me this, is just a gentle wiggle.
Wiggle your fingers and toes.
Wiggle your fingers.
And, like, especially when there's overwhelm, that feels like a freeze response in the body,
Yes.
and it's like your foot is on the gas and the brakes at the same time.
Yes, you're, like, a little frazzled, you're a little, restless.
Yeah, it's the idea of, like, shaking your whole body just feels really out of reach,
Yeah.
and so instead, you're like, "Okay, how can I just go a millimeter in that direction?"
Mhm.
And for me, that's, like, wiggling fingers and toes,
Mhm.
and then taking a belly breath as I do that, connecting to my breath and I'm looking for, like, my awareness goes to sensation in the joints. That's where there's a
Mm.
lot of sensation,
Mm.
and then you can, like, bring that into your wrists,
Mhm.
and then your elbows, and then your shoulders,
Mhm.
and then you can combine all of this, right? You can, like, you've got your whole upper body moving now, and that's you're going, "Ah."
Emotional processing, everyone. It's true, though, it feels so good.
It's
I, like,
incredible.
don't know how I survived before I was able to just be like, "Ugh."
Yes, and it's like how I survived is I, like, developed chronic illness.
Right, right, right.
Like, my
Yes.
body was just clamped down on all of this,
Yes,
and there it takes a toll.
absolutely. Listen to episode 16
Mhm,
on a story of chronic illness.
mhm.
So powerful.
Yeah,
Already one of our audience's favorite episodes.
and it's so related to the emotional processing piece. It's
Totally.
just, like, so much was clamped down and braced and held, and
Yeah.
then the being able to move and sound and breathe as I feel the thing was the
Mhm.
game changer. And
Mhm.
so
Okay, breathing break, where we tell you we aren't just a podcast.
So you're saying it's a commercial break?
Yes, we also run programs around everything we talk about on this podcast.
Workshops, online courses, basically spaces where you can actually experience the transformation we talk about on this podcast.
Are you breathing?
If you want to stay in the loop, get on our email waitlist. The link is in the show notes.
Inhale, exhale.
Now back to it.
And so for me, Leona talks about like this very intuitive process.
What does your body wanna do? Just let your body move you.
And like if someone had said that to me 10 years ago, I would have just like looked at them like, what are you talking about? And so my doorway in was sensation in the
Mm.
body, and specifically this idea of if I'm feeling an emotion, there's going to be a corresponding sensation somewhere in my body.
Mhm.
And we all experience this in different ways. Like panic can feel like a weight on your chest
Mhm.
or like a vice on your chest.
Mhm.
Or anxiety is this pressure
Mhm.
or you know there's sensations. And
Mhm.
so for me when I was feeling an emotion, I would then go into my body. I'd bring awareness to my body, be like, what do I feel in my body right now?
Mhm.
And I'd feel maybe a tightness in my chest, for
Mhm.
example. And then that would be like, okay, how do I move my chest in some way?
Mm.
Or how do I feel that tightness and like shake out my wrists?
Mhm.
And that was this connection. And then
Mhm.
over time of just like trying different things, that intuitive movement, sound, breath was able to come out. But at
Totally.
first, it was very just like structured and just trying prescribed things
Mhm.
without knowing what was going to happen or if it was going to help. And then over time, noticing, okay, that did help. Oh, I
Totally.
do feel lighter. Oh, I do.
Totally.
And again, it was sensation based, right? Oh,
Mhm.
that pressure has lifted.
Mhm.
Oh, the sensation has now moved to my stomach. And now I feel a tightness in my stomach. Like all of these are indicators that like movement is happening. And
Mhm.
that's what we're looking for.
Yes.
Change in sensation. We just
Yeah.
follow that sensation through the body.
Mhm. That's, like, what I say, like, I wanna move the energy. Like, there's an energy, there's a density, there's a stuckness, there's a fire, there's a black hole, and, like, I wanna move it. I don't wanna harden around it. Like, so often our bodies harden around it, and, like, I will just wall it off, and then I'll stop feeling anything. You will reduce blood flow and hurt yourself over a long period of time. That is true. You won't feel any better. So, it's
Ugh,
like in a such a, like, physiological way, like, opening up blood flow when we wanna, like, clamp down on something, and I'll just get more stiff, and then I won't have to feel it, and, like, literally just thinking about it, like, "Oh my god, how can I have more blood flow?
yeah.
Can I have more spaciousness in that part of my body?" And I would say that yeah, that way of thinking about processing emotion works really well for some people. Some people are like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So, to give some other examples, like, I have a lovely friend who, like, needs things to be a little bit more literal, and her favorite somatic practice is pushing against a wall.
Oof, good
Try
one.
to move a wall with for anger,
Yeah.
just shove against something or, like, twisting out a wet washcloth
Mm,
and, like,
mm,
get your teeth into it, get your face into it, get your little grill into it,
yes.
stomping your feet, screaming also.
Yeah, put a pillow in your lap and just,
Yeah.
like, bang it with your fists, you know?
Totally.
And to give a little bit of science behind this, like, we evolved to do this. And
Mhm.
we can just go back to the fight or flight response, like, we moved our bodies.
Yeah.
We maybe like, a fight response is, like, we hit something or we fought
Mhm.
something or we pushed against something. That flight response is more like we ran from something. And
Mhm.
so we can mimic these motions in our body, and we're evolutionarily hardwired for these things to help move this energy in our body.
Absolutely, because once upon a time, all of our problems that made us feel emotion were something that we had to physically respond to, like,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
They weren't things we just thought about. We didn't do a lot of, like, just mental calculations in our head like we do
It
now.
was the environment around us that
Yes.
we were interacting with
Yeah,
through these pathways. And that's
totally.
changed as we've evolved, as we've lived in
Yeah.
civilization for so
Yes.
long now.
Yeah.
And so now we're learning how to apply these things in these new ways, in these new contexts.
Yeah, exactly. So, we just gave a lot of moving examples for anger
Yeah.
or for, like, those big, hot, fiery I need to do something, go to kickboxing, right? Like endless, endless, endless options. For grief or fear, those can be harder.
Yeah.
Um, like I for grief, I love like it is kind of like a cat cow. Like when I'm in deep grief, I almost always need to be on my hands and knees. Like and like putting my head to the earth and like
Yeah.
crying and like I am often whacking my hands against the earth. There's a better word for that than whacking, but that's what we got. Um, and, like, that kind of, like, wailing, that prostration, that way that
Yeah.
cultures have grieved for millennia, and now we've gotten this, like, Western, like, British stiff upper lip. But going back to, like, let yourself feel it or curl up in a ball and rock back and forth. That's a good one for
Yeah.
fear too. Fear also highly recommend, like, if you have a blanket you can wrap around yourself and pull around your shoulders tight like someone's holding you, or put a pillow in like, so you're holding something, like, if you can get that double sensation because grief or fear often makes you wanna freeze. So the sensation of you being really held can be really nice.
Yeah.
And then another one for fear is like flight is a classic fear, and it can be kind of hard to break out of the freeze response into a flight. But if I can get myself running, if I can get myself biking, if I can get myself doing jumping jacks, like I'm gonna move a lot of fear.
Yeah.
Y-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are my recommendations. Do you have any for grief and fear?
Yeah. I think grief for me as well, like, I do have to just, like, surrender to the ground. Like,
Yeah,
there's definitely that prostration
yeah,
that I think, yeah, I'm usually maybe more like a child's pose sort of deal,
yeah,
but, like, yeah, on my knees, like, chest to the earth, like, arms out in front of me,
yeah,
and then the sound, the wailing,
yeah,
that piece is really big.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Yeah.
And obviously let yourself cry.
Yeah, right,
I
and
feel
then
like grief has, like, kind of an automatic one. We can just let ourselves cry. It, like, works super well.
yeah, definitely let yourself cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's this piece of, like, if you let yourself cry, like, you let it out,
You just let it out.
and then it's not in you anymore, and,
Mhm.
like, there's more, and more may arise, but then instead of, like,
Mhm.
doubling down on it and holding it in, we learn to just let it out when it
Mhm.
arises,
Absolutely.
and that's been, like, looking at these larger grieving processes I've been in, like, it comes in waves,
Mhm.
and so when that wave arises, trying our best in that moment to let it out, like,
Mhm.
as it comes in, even if you're with friends, even if you're out in public, even if,
Mhm.
like, that is the moment to
Yeah.
do it. You can go back and access it later, but it's like, I also very much trust my body now that it's
Yeah.
when that emotion comes in, my body's like, "I'm ready to release this."
Yeah.
And so that's the moment to let it out in some way.
Absolutely, and I do feel like grief has that sneaky way of being like, "Actually, I'm much more accessible around other people."
Oh, yeah.
Which is so irritating. You're like, "I would really like to cry about this by myself," but when you're alone, you feel fine. This happened to me the other day. I was, like, upstairs and I was feeling okay, and then came down and saw Anna. I was like, "Anna, can I cry in your arms?"
Yes. Oh, and there is something so beautiful about that. And I do
Yeah.
wanna say, in our culture and society, we've been taught to hide
Mhm.
our painful emotions
Yeah.
and to do them in private or alone. And
Yeah.
there's so much healing that happens in connection with another person. And that is
Yeah.
how we evolved, We've just been
Yes.
socially conditioned to believe that it is wrong in some way
Yes.
to do this with someone.
Yes. And it's so vulnerable. Don't get us wrong. God.
And like have discernment, right?
Yeah.
This is big. We don't
Big
just
time.
pry into anyone's arms, right? Someone could invalidate the shit out of you and dismiss you, and then you're like, and I feel worse, and I'm never crying again.
Mhm. Probably happened once,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
why we're all like this.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, and so there's a big who you process with matters.
Yeah.
And relational healing happens in relationship.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
another quick interruption from your regularly scheduled podcast. The Body Knows is brought to you by
Absolutely no sponsors, no corporate backing. No one would take us.
just us, two women.
Who are slightly obsessed with the radical idea that your body and emotions actually aren't broken.
If you're enjoying the show and want to help us keep it going, you can buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/thebodyknows.
Funds go towards better recording equipment, giggle resupplies, and the occasional emotional meltdown.
The link is in the show notes.
Okay, where were we?
And I feel like that's a beautiful segue into another way of processing emotions that many people try constantly, and it's sometimes successful, talking about it. Venting, bitching, stewing, ruminating, a bunch of different flavors of talking about emotions that sometimes make you feel better and sometimes just dig you deeper into the goop of the swamp.
Yes, and that's the indulgence piece that we
Yeah.
touched on earlier.
Yeah.
There's a fine line, and like it's for you to really determine,
Yeah.
am I expressing to release or expressing to indulge?
Yeah.
Am I spiraling? Okay, that's indulging.
Mhm.
That's not venting to release.
Yeah.
And so setting a time container can be really helpful,
Mhm.
especially if you're with someone or like I come up to Leah and I'm like, babe, I need to vent right now for like
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah. And I bet you Anna's gonna be venting with her hands. And she's gonna be
Oh
like,
yeah, I'm gonna get big with it.
she's gonna be huffy. She's gonna be gesticulating. She's gonna be growling. Process.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna get really hot while I'm
Yes.
doing it
Yes.
too, which is a great sign.
That's such a good sign. If you're getting hot while you're speaking about something, energy is moving.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
And then if you're trying to do this maybe with a new partner, setting guidelines
Mhm.
and boundaries and like, this is what I want from you, this is what I don't want from you. Like, or like, I don't need you to say anything.
Yes.
I just need you to look at me
Mhm.
and like maybe like egg me on. Like nod your head or be like, yeah. Or like, give me more.
Yeah.
You know?
In this, I think the case of anger.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. And
Yeah,
so
just
knowing
more grief. Oh,
Yeah,
God,
right.
I'm loving it.
And so knowing what you need is
Mhm.
a process to
Mhm.
learn, and then feeling safe to articulate it to someone
Mhm.
else is also a process to learn.
Yeah.
And then that person being able to actually have willingness and capacity to
Yes.
offer you that. Like there's a lot of important pieces
There's a
here.
lot of important pieces here.
And when that comes together, it's so powerful.
It's so good. And I made a podcast. I don't know when it's gonna be released.
We're just gonna keep talking
We're
about
gonna
it.
just keep talking about it. It may or may not be out, but it's a solo podcast. I don't know what the title will be, but it will be about processing anger with my boyfriend in a
Yes.
really powerful framework and how we both felt so much better afterward. It
Yeah.
was great. It was like next level up for me processing in relationship, in partnership. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, and it's just the framework is like how to set a container
Yeah.
and how to communicate it and how to hold it and then what
Yeah.
that looks like for both
Yeah.
people involved.
Yes. And this is so important. This makes me think about all the times that we've tried to process emotion when we didn't have consent from the other person
Mm,
to be processing their emotion. And they might not even know that what you're really doing is processing emotion. And they just end up dismissing you
yeah.
and like
Or trying to fix you.
or trying to fix you. So we see this a lot. And this is why like talking about emotions as a form of processing, like you just gotta really be watching yourself. Like, are you really processing? Are you really venting? I consider venting processing. Are you just ruminating, talking shit with a friend, spiraling about something? Or are you like bringing it to a person who is not ready and is not capable and is not the right choice for you processing. And the last one happens a lot when we think we want to have a debate or a discussion, but we're
Mm.
actually pissed about something.
Yeah.
Think of family dinners where politics comes up. And you're actually pissed. And your Uncle Jerry is a boomer. He lives in a different part of the country than you. You have very different opinions. Uncle Jerry has no idea that what's happening is really you are processing emotion. Probably Uncle Jerry is processing emotion too.
Yeah, because both of us haven't actually learned how to process our emotions, and then it comes out in dialogue instead.
And that is just you invalidate the living shit out of each other.
Yeah.
You both end up feeling worse than you did before. Maybe you don't talk for a while.
Yeah.
Just picking the arena where we're processing versus like, oh, actually, I have processed some big emotion around this political opinion I have, and now I am ready to have constructive, generative debates around it
Right.
and talk to someone who maybe has a different opinion than me and like talk to them, converse, have a discussion
Yeah.
instead of spewing emotion at them.
That, and this actually, I think, links nicely to our last podcast about
Mm,
embodying the lioness.
mhm,
There's a piece about knowing where you stand,
mm,
knowing what your standards are, what your
mm,
boundaries are, and being able to speak from that grounded confidence. And we can
mm.
only reach that once we have emotionally processed.
Yes. Yes. And we're not saying that like you should just hide in a hole whenever you're emotional, but like just recognizing like emotions are beautiful. They're beautiful and they are powerful,
Mm.
like the ocean. And often when you have a big emotion roiling in you, you are just in a different state. And like being thoughtful about the kind of activities you can engage in when you have an ocean
Yeah.
inside of you.
Yeah.
And like some of my emotional processing, like I can think of like moments of grief, especially that have like turned into even while I've been in deep grief, like, I feel so alive. I feel so in touch with love. I feel
Mm.
so like, oh, I want every moment of life so badly. Like, emotions and the processing of them can be an exquisite practice. So, we're not saying, like, you need to be processing your emotions and then you can go out and be a regular functioning member of society. Not at all, but like, honor what the emotion is trying to show you, what it like the state it
Yes.
wants to bring you into. Like, these can be exalted states. Like, a state of high grief is a state of high love.
And this is such a key piece, and something we talked about in our Dark Goddess episode,
Mm,
episode number
14.
14. Yeah, this idea that rage is love for what
Mhm,
has been violated.
mhm,
Grief is love for what has been lost.
mhm.
Fear is love for life itself. Like,
Yeah,
and we can keep going with that with every painful emotion. And so
yeah.
that's one of the beautiful parts of when we start to really touch into this emotional processing and we learn to orient toward the painful emotion, like when it cracks us open, what we find inside is love.
Oh my god. It's such a good feeling. Like, teachers have told me that I have become addicted to shadow work, aka emotional processing, because I love the feeling of, like, when you crack through and you're just like, "Everything is perfect."
Yeah. But it's like it really it leads you somewhere
It
beautiful.
leads you somewhere
It
so
it
beautiful.
leads you to what matters to you,
Yeah.
and what a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
And that's maybe where we can close this is there is a really important part for me about ending emotional processing
Mm.
is touching back into that. And so back
Mm.
to the baby example, like the baby
Mhm.
expresses and then like co-regulates with the caregiver.
Yeah.
And so the movement happens and you reconnect to something, to
Mhm.
safety, belonging, and dignity.
Mhm.
So I consider that like closing the container in some way.
Mhm.
And especially after these big emotional processing events, I'll sometimes feel like spacey and like ungrounded. Like,
Totally.
where's my center?
And so mushy and, like, young. Like,
Yes.
I'm just a little baby wet rat.
Yes.
Someone feed me, keep me warm.
And so there's like a beautiful piece. Like if you have someone to have someone to ask, like, can you hold me right now? Can I
Mhm,
co-regulate with you? Can,
mhm,
this is what I need
mhm,
in this moment, or being able to offer that to yourself. And that can
mhm,
look like self-contact. That
mhm.
can look like maybe you've already done a practice where you've connected to what matters to you, to what I call the ground you stand on, or I've been taught to call it the ground you stand on by David
Mm,
Weinstock. And 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 that allows you to reconnect to self and close
yeah,
that container.
totally.
And this is really important. This is
Yes,
like
for those big emotions, like, if you're gonna go swan dive into that deep shit.
yeah, have a way to reconnect with self, with
Yeah,
your heart, with what
yeah.
matters to you, with a grounding practice, with an
Mhm,
orienting practice.
mhm.
Come back to this present moment,
Totally.
connect to your body, connect to your environment,
Mhm,
breathe, move
mhm.
slowly.
Yeah, and we have a podcast that includes, like, grounding practices, and then also just, like, super accessible ways. Eat some food.
Drink some water.
Yeah, take a shower.
Mhm.
Curl up and watch some bad TV. Like, that grounds me. I'm like, "Oh, I'm back in my body."
Amazing.
I'm not scrolling on Instagram, interestingly enough, but,
Yeah.
like, watching Heated Rivalry, I'm like, "Okay, I'm back. I'm
Oh,
ready."
that'll bring you back.
Had to make a plug. And also, I wanna make a plug, speaking of plugs, we are going to be guiding people through the process of discovering what sort of emotional processing, breath, movement, sound works for them in my boyfriend's retreat space, membership space. Just look up breathing space, Josh Connolly, and there's a 14-day free trial. We will be there April 8th. So if you're listening to this before April 8th, Josh Connolly, breathing space.
We'll put a link in the show
We'll
notes.
put a link in the show notes and a
Yeah, come
14-day free
come do a
trial.
workshop with us. We're
Yeah.
gonna lead an hour-long workshop in
Mhm.
how to do this, what this can look like.
Mhm. And, with plenty of time for Q&A at the end. So, like, I don't know if they're it's, like, not a sexy skill, emotional processing. I wish there was, like, a sexier way to talk about it, but the more I look around at the world and the more I look into the future, the more I'm like, "Oh, this is what I really want people to know."
Yeah, yeah. Sexy's come back in a lot of ways. It's been re-embraced by
Yeah.
society, but the ugly, the
Mhm.
messy, the,
Mhm.
like, gooey and gross is yet to be embraced, and
Yeah.
that's what this work is about,
Yeah.
embracing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to The Body Knows,
If this episode helped you breathe, reminded you you're not broken,
or maybe awakened a long lost part of you,
subscribe, leave a review, share it with someone who needs it.
and then come back for more.
Because the body is a universe of pleasure and power.
And we're exploring the whole damn thing.